My beloved child, listen to me and do not be afraid of my nearness. I raise my voice to you now, not out of anger, but out of love racing against time. Feel your breath rise and fall. Feel your heart continue its steady labor. Notice that you are still standing after everything that should have toppled you. This is not chance, not luck, not merely your resilience or wit. It is because I have kept you. I have laid my hand of protection over your journey, quietly redirecting your steps, closing doors that looked harmless but hid deep wounds, slowing you when a faster pace would have driven you into a cliff you could not see. My warning to you in this hour is not condemnation. It is protection delivered as mercy. I want you to understand the nature of what I am saying before you decide how to hear it. I am not here to shame you. I am here to keep you. I am not here to coerce you. I am here to call you. There has never been a single moment in your life that was accidental to me. Every sunrise you woke beneath, every night you survived, even the nothing happened days, were banners of my preservation over you. Let that assurance hold you as I speak plainly. The danger pressing near you is not a loud crisis. It is a quiet drift. It is not an obvious rebellion. It is a slow surrender to comfort. It does not shout. It softly hums, "Later will do," while it steals the sharpness of your yes. So ask with me now, what am I warning you about right now, and how do you respond without fear? I am warning you about the trance of postponement that has wrapped itself in reasonable words and familiar routines. I see the inner negotiations, how you turn obedience into planning, how you rename caution as wisdom when it is fear, how you let days pass while telling yourself you are preparing, when in truth you are drifting. Spiritual stagnation is not loud, it lulls. It tells you all is well because nothing is burning, while the embers of your focus grow cold. Hear me. I do not say this to crush you, but to wake you. My beloved child, I do not push you across the threshold. I stand before it and invite you to step through while the opening is near. Timing is not an accessory to obedience. Timing is part of the miracle I am giving you. When I warn you, I am not threatening your peace. I am preserving your destiny. Warning is a gift. It is my hand on your shoulder saying, do not sleep here. Do not settle here. Do not make a home in a hallway. Breathe again. Let the fear of failure fall off you, for I am not measuring you by perfection. I am holding you by love. Ask me for courage. Name the delay. Refuse the numbness that calls itself normal. If you hear my voice, do not harden your heart. Choose to stay awake with me, for I am here to keep you, to lead you, and to bring you safely forward. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. My beloved child, let me open for you the ledger of moments you called nothing and show you what was happening beneath that quiet. There were doors you never walked through, not because you were unworthy, not because you lacked skill, not because chance forgot you, not luck, not coincidence, not your perfection, preservation. I put my hand on the handle before you reached it. I eased the hinge so it would not swing. I allowed a pause that felt like loss to you, but in truth was love keeping watch. Consider the plans that stalled without explanation, the approvals that never arrived, the callbacks that didn't come, the move that looked certain until it wasn't. Remember the friendship that cooled before it turned into a chain, the romance that faded before it demanded pieces of you I never asked you to sell, the habit that tried to fasten itself but never fully sealed. You assumed you were unlucky. You wondered if you'd mismanaged opportunity. You were spared. That very nothing was the sign of protection. Think of the nights someone invited you and you declined without knowing why, and the trouble you never met because you stayed home. Think of the party you missed, the trip you couldn't afford, the room you were not selected to enter, Behind those refusals and rejections were embarrassments you did not have to carry, compromises that would have seemed small at first and then grown into nets, distractions that dressed themselves as destiny. I intervened in traffic, in timing, in text threads, in offhand remarks that closed a path. I quieted your appetite for what would not keep you, and I kept alive a thirst for what would. My beloved child, what did you grieve that would have wounded you if it had succeeded? What door did you pound that, if opened, would have bent your calling around the shape of someone else's approval? What promotion did you mourn that would have asked you to lose the parts of you I refused to surrender? You thought delay was punishment. You feared that silence was neglect. You were mistaken. I was guarding foundations you could not see. I do not only save you from car crashes and headlines. I save you from slow entanglements, from subtle shames, from the drip of small agreements that weaken a soul over years. I have kept you through the ordinary, the unremarkable, the days that ended with a sigh and no story to tell, because sometimes the loudest story is the trouble that never arrived. You call it uneventful. I call it preserved. Hear me. The one who kept you then is speaking now, because another quiet edge is near. I am not here to frighten you. I am here to sharpen you. Remember the doors you did not enter, and let that memory train your ear to my voice. The same hand that withheld is the hand that now beckons. The same love that closed a path will open the right one in its time. Trust me while the whisper is near. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going both now and forevermore. Psalm 121, 7-8. My beloved child, lean closer, for I must name the danger that does not look like danger. It is quiet, familiar, reassuring to your tired mind. It says, I'm fine, later, when things settle. It invites you to sit a little longer, to postpone a little further, to shelve what I asked of you until a day that never arrives. This is the trance of postponement. It is not a cliff you can see. It is a soft field that slowly turns to mire beneath your feet. You are not running from me. You are resting in a room that numbs you to my voice, and because it feels gentle, you do not notice it hardening you. You learned to adapt to emptiness and called it peace. You learned to live with dryness and called it maturity. You accepted distance and called it normal. You told yourself you had grown calm when in truth you had grown drowsy. You reduced your expectations in the name of wisdom when in truth fear had renamed itself prudence. You quieted your hunger so you would not have to feel its ache, then held up your lack of desire as proof that you were balanced. My beloved child, I see the corners of your heart where you filed away my invitations under someday and when I have time and once this season slows. Someday is not a calendar date, it is a drift. Hear me without shame. The greatest danger to you right now may not be what you are doing. It may be what you keep delaying. Not a single dramatic no, but 1,000 soft not yets that sand down your sensitivity to my spirit. Every postponed apology stiffens the tongue a little. Every delayed act of generosity makes the hand a little heavier. Every extended compromise bends the spine until standing straight feels foreign. Hardness rarely arrives as a storm. It arrives as a habit. I am not calling you into anxiety. Watchfulness is not anxiety. Watchfulness is focus. Watchfulness is living with true attention to my whisper in ordinary days, choosing to be present to my nudge in the hallway, in the inbox, in the conversation you would rather leave unchallenged. Anxiety flails. Watchfulness listens. Anxiety scrambles. Watchfulness obeys. Anxiety accumulates tasks. Watchfulness receives assignments. Be watchful with me. Do not confuse surrender with sleep. Consider how the delay works on you. It praises your caution. It flatters your logic. It soothes your nerves with the promise of ideal conditions that never fully align. After I rest, after I learn more, after I feel ready. Readiness is not the absence of trembling. Readiness is the presence of my voice and your answer. My beloved child, I do not push you across thresholds. I stand beside them and speak now because timing itself is part of the miracle. A door that stays open forever is not a door. It is a wall. There is a brief opening. There is a living word. There is a tender urgency. Let me restore your appetite. Let me wake the part of you that still burns. Ask me to make you quick to respond, soft to my correction, alive to my nearness. Do not wait until you feel everything. Choose me in the small step before you see the whole path. Today is the hour that unmakes the trance. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. My beloved child, hear me with clarity, for I must show you how later borrows your voice and walks around your mind as if it belongs there. The resistance you face rarely announces itself as evil. It does not kick down your door with chaos. It sits in your favorite chair and speaks with your cadence. Not a scream, but a whisper. Not a storm, but a fog. Not an attack, but an invitation to drift. It says, you have time. It says, it won't matter. It says, not now. It says, you'll fail. And because it sounds so familiar, you call it wisdom when it is weariness. You call it caution when it is fear. You call it maturity when it is numbness being polite. The enemy understands that a loud temptation would wake you, so he chooses a soft postponement to soothe you. He surrounds you with reasonable delays, endless research, one more podcast, one more consultation, one more plan that refines the plan. He assures you that excellence just needs a few more drafts, that timing will be perfect once your nerves settle, that you will feel ready when the stars align. Meanwhile, the moment I gave you cools, and the door that was sized for a simple yes becomes heavy with the hinges of your hesitation. Do not misunderstand. I am not removing your responsibility by naming your adversary. I am revealing the scheme so you may stand in the freedom I have given you. There is an enemy, yes, but he cannot choose for you. He can only echo your doubts until you mistake them for discernment. He can only flood your senses with lullabies until you equate peace with inactivity. He sharpens the needle of comparison and pricks you with, others are ahead, why try? He paints your obedience as insignificant and whispers, it won't change anything. He flatters your intellect with, think it through again. But I have not asked you to outargue your own hesitation. I have asked you to obey the light you already have. Look at the cost of half-awake living. You linger at thresholds as if proximity were progress. You rehearse apologies you never speak. You circle familiar paths and call it prudence because you have not stumbled yet. You live near the well and complain of thirst. You keep the language of faith and the habits of delay. You know the song of surrender, but your feet never cross the line where a yes becomes movement. This is how destinies thin, not through a single violent detour, but through a gentle accumulation of untouched steps. My beloved child, I raise my voice because a particular moment draws near, a brief window where timing is part of the test and part of the miracle. I am not rushing you into panic. I am waking you into focus. The whisper that tells you to wait without cause is not my counsel. My spirit convicts, he does not tranquilize. My guidance can be calm, but it is not the calm of sleep. It is the clarity of direction. Ask me to separate my voice from the counterfeit familiar. Bring me the phrases that hover. It won't matter. You'll fail. You have time. Not now. And let me answer them with my word within you. To the lie of insignificance, I say, your obedience ripples farther than you can see. To the fear of failure, I say, I am your keeper, not your scoreboard. To the haze of delay, I say, When I speak now, now is holy. Be sober, be watchful, resist the drift, and step. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. 1 Peter 5:8. My beloved child, a brief window stands before you. Do you feel how the air thins, how the room quiets, how a whisper gathers weight? This is the crossroads where timing becomes the test. Not because I am playing with your heart, but because certain doors are alive. They open and they close. They are not museum pieces to be admired. They are passages to be walked while the invitation breathes. Some doors open with a whisper. Obedience must answer while the whisper is still near. I am not pressuring you into panic. I am protecting you from drifting past the moment that would change your life. Panic scrambles without direction. My urgency focuses with purpose. Hear the difference. I am not asking for frantic motion. I am asking for timely devotion. When I say now, I am not measuring how loud your stride sounds. I am inviting the alignment that only exists when your yes meets my moment. Timing is part of the miracle. Slacken it, and the shape of grace you long for does not fit as it was meant to. Tighten it to your fear, and you will rush ahead of me. Walk with me here, neither lagging nor lunging, but yielding as soon as you recognize my voice. Let me speak plainly about delay. Caution is wisdom when it listens to me. Caution becomes a mask when it hides from me. Later can be stewardship when I appoint a time. Later becomes disobedience when it wears a polite name to spare your nerves. Delayed obedience does not stay small. It trains your heart to treat my word as optional. It dulls the edge of conviction. It replaces responsiveness with negotiation. My beloved child, I do not say this to condemn you. I say it because I love the clarity that once ran through you, and I will not watch you barter it away to the comfort of postponement. Look with me at the chain that grows from small postponements. An apology unsent becomes a relationship settled into safe distance, then a story you tell yourself about why intimacy is risky. A confession delayed becomes a habit that hardens, then a narrative that this is just who I am. A prompting to give postponed becomes a budget that never seems to have space, then a life that can quote generosity but rarely tastes it. A call to begin avoided becomes a year reshaped around excuses, then a calling that sounds fainter each season, not because it died, but because the noise of almost drowned it out. Habits harden, hearts calcify, paths narrow, not all at once, but relentlessly. Yet hear the mercy in my voice. The window is open. While it is open, it is not your eloquence I ask for, but your obedience. Do not rehearse speeches. Do not wait for the tremble to stop. Take the step I have already lit. Send the message. Make the call. Delete what entangles. Pick up what I placed. Bow where you stood stiff. Move while the whisper is near. Only a response given at the moment of calling opens the next step. I have not come to take from you. I have come to keep you. I am not after grand offerings to distract from a withheld yes. I am after your heart awake in the present. To obey is better than sacrifice. 1 Samuel 15:22. My beloved child, look with me into a mirror I am holding before you. Lot standing in a city that felt ordinary while danger moved beneath the surface. Markets opened. Laughter rose from courtyards. The sky looked harmless. The ground beneath his feet did not announce judgment. Yet my messengers came with a word that sounded abrupt, even illogical. Leave now. Do not linger. Do not pack your explanations. Do not wait for smoke to appear. My insistence was not threat. It was mercy arriving early, because by the time the fire is visible, it is no longer warning. It is consequence. I know how this touches you. I am speaking to the places where you are comfortable but compromised. an environment that dulls your hunger for me, a relationship pattern that keeps you orbiting what will not love you into holiness, a secret habit you visit when you are tired, a slow agreement with sin that wears politeness so your conscience won't protest too loudly. It feels bearable, manageable, not dramatic. You tell yourself, it's not that bad, because there are no flames licking the edges. My beloved child, danger is often real long before it is visible. Leaving can feel like loss. I do not deny it. For Lot, leaving meant stepping away from streets he knew, neighbors he recognized, rhythms that had become the furniture of his life. For you, leaving may mean stepping out of rooms that once validated you, silencing a thread that flatters you, walking away from a partnership that promises gain but trains your heart to bend truth. Separation cuts, tearful, confusing, costly, but understand the nature of my voice. I warn you because I love what I intend to preserve in you. Staying can become destruction. Separation can become salvation. And then there is the backward glance, the quiet nostalgia that polishes old chains until they shine like jewelry. It wasn't so bad, I can handle it this time. I'll visit, but I won't stay. My beloved child, the heart that looks back with longing halts the forward work of rescue. Lot's wife did not sprint back into the city. She turned her gaze and became fixed, a monument to unfinished obedience. Nostalgia is not memory. Nostalgia is a spell that edits the pain out of your past and erases my kindness in calling you out. Do not romanticize captivity because it is familiar. Familiar is not safe. Familiar is not holy. Familiar does not equal future. I am taking you by the hand as I took Lot by the hand. I am saying, now, not because I lack patience, but because I see what you cannot see from where you stand. I do not wait for visible proof to justify my warning, because the proof would be the damage you would then have to carry. My beloved child, obey me while the sky is still blue. Move while the whisper is near. Do not build arguments where I have built exits. Mercy always arrives early. Do not linger in the valley of almost. Step out of what numbs you, even if your legs shake. Lift your eyes to the hills I am pointing to, even if you cannot yet describe them to anyone else. I will not waste your surrender. I will preserve what I love in you as you leave what cannot keep you. Remember Lot's wife, Luke 17:32. My beloved child, look with me into another mirror. Not a city left behind, but a command received and reshaped until it fit a fearful heart. Saul heard my instruction. He moved, he fought, he gathered evidence that looked like obedience, the dust of battle on his cloak, the sound of livestock driven before him, the king of that nation standing in chains. In appearance, he obeyed. In essence, he kept what he wanted. He spared what seemed useful, defended what looked valuable, wrapped his selectivity in the language of worship, and said, I kept the best to sacrifice to the Lord. Selective surrender dressed as devotion. See the pattern. He retained control at the precise point obedience was meant to test it. He obeyed where it cost him little attention and resisted where it cost him affection, status, and pride. He honored me in public words and withheld me in private choices. He built an altar to cover what he refused to alter. He called negotiation wisdom. He named partial yes as if it were whole. This, my beloved child, is how a quiet no grows, respectable, polite, explainable. Let me speak to you gently and plainly. You may be offering me sacrifice, hours of service, careful plans, generous gestures, disciplined routines, while withholding the one instruction that unties your grip. Not because you hate my voice, but because you fear the loss it might bring, an apology that would humble you, a confession that would expose you, a relationship you must release, a number you must delete, a step you must take before your certainty arrives, a gift that feels too costly, a boundary that will disappoint people who benefited from your silence. Control is only a thin garment covering fear, fear of loss, fear of change, fear of being unseen. Hear the antithesis that protects you. Obedience is not negotiation. Obedience is alignment. Not as long as, but because you said. Not once I can explain it, but while the whisper is near. Not if they approve, but you are my counsel. Negotiation breeds delay. Alignment breeds peace. Negotiation multiplies reasons. Alignment multiplies grace. Negotiation hardens the will. Alignment softens the heart. You wonder why your soul feels divided while your calendar is full of spiritual activity. It is because a hidden reservation splits you in two. Public devotion on one side, private exception on the other. You have learned to busy your hands to quiet your conscience, to stack sacrifices on the altar, while the one withheld yes hums beneath the floorboards. I am not shaming you. I am freeing you from the burden of managing both loyalty and loophole. A divided heart is heavy. I did not design you to be a house with locked rooms. My beloved child, my warning is love. I am not trying to take from you. I am keeping you from becoming fractured by your own negotiations. I am guarding the clarity that still lives in you. Bring me the one withheld thing. Call it by name. Place it in my hands. Do not let devotion become disguise. Do not let sacrifice become shield. Let your yes be whole, not because you feel no fear, but because you trust my character more than your calculations. I am after your wholeness. I am after your peace. I am after your future unbent by secret bargains. Choose alignment over argument. Choose obedience over optics. Choose my voice over your conditions, and you will find rest where striving tried to live. To obey is better than sacrifice. Rebellion is as the sin of divination, and presumption is as iniquity and idolatry. 1 Samuel 15:22-23. My beloved child, look with me into Nineveh, not as a tale far from you, but as a mirror close to your breath. I sent a severe-sounding word through Jonah, but the edge on that word was not hatred. It was mercy measured as time. 40 days, I said, not to gloat over ruin, but to place a clock of kindness over a city unaware of its own cliff. I did not thunder to destroy. I spoke to deliver. Warning is a gift when time is attached to it. I gave them a window because destruction is not inevitable when humility wakes. See how they responded and learn the shape of repentance without shame. They did not throw themselves into self-hatred. They did not perform to impress me. They did not bargain for better terms of delay. They believed me. They turned while there was still light. The king rose from his throne, laid his robe aside, sat low and said with his posture what his mouth could barely form. We were wrong. This is repentance, not panic, not performance, not theatrical sorrow, a turning of the will into my word, a movement of the feet away from the old path while the whisper is still near. Hear me. I am not asking you to punish yourself. I am inviting you to be honest. Bring me your real heart, not your polished words. I prefer a true confession whispered in weakness to a perfect speech delivered in delay. Do not hide beneath the costume of shame, for shame keeps you staring at yourself. Humility lifts your eyes to me. Shame paralyzes, humility moves. Shame rehearses explanations. Humility says, "Yes, Lord," and changes direction. Understand the principle at work. Humility creates space for mercy. Quick turning shortens suffering. Delayed turning multiplies consequences. A soft heart invites a soft outcome. A stubborn heart requires rougher tools. I do not choose roughness to prove I am strong. I choose what will wake you when gentler calls are ignored. My beloved child, let it be simple. Let it be now. Stop defending. Start turning. A warning becomes rescue the moment you stop defending and start turning. Ask yourself, where is your throne? The place you refuse to step down from. Lay your robe aside. Name the habit that chills your hunger. Name the message left unsent, the apology postponed, the open door avoided, the secret you guard like a god. Do not wait until you feel worthy. Worthiness is not the gate, my mercy is. Your next step does not need to be loud, it needs to be honest. Send the message. Cancel the return to what numbs you. Speak the apology. Open the scripture you have neglected and sit under it as a student, not a critic. Give what you promised in your heart and delayed with your hands. One step proves you are awake. I am near. I am not counting failures as if they outnumber my kindness. I am watching for your turn. When Nineveh turned, I turned the outcome. I will do the same with you. God saw what they did, how they turned from their evil way, and God relented of the disaster that he had said he would do to them, and he did not do it. Jonah 3:10. My beloved child, you ask why the pressure has been heavy even as you turn, why the path has felt narrow even as your heart says yes. Hear me, what felt like standing still has not been stall, it has been depth. I have been digging foundations within you where no one applauds, strengthening the unseen beams that must hold the weight of what you have asked me to entrust to you. You saw no movement and assumed neglect. You were mistaken. Roots do their finest work where eyes cannot see. A tree that has never faced strong winds will not grow roots deep enough to stand when the future leans on it. I sent winds not to snap you, but to anchor you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. I speak to you as a potter to a vessel I love. You prayed for greater pouring. I answered with careful mending. If I were to pour when the vessel is still cracked, the blessing would become a burden. Promise would turn to pressure you are unable to carry, and what you begged for would leak and leave you ashamed. So I have held you in the kiln. Heat is not hatred. Heat is the cure that seals what my hands have shaped. Fire does not devour what I claim. It bonds the particles that would have come apart under lesser strain. I am not delaying to deprive you. I am sealing you so you can bear increase without breaking. My beloved child, understand the precision of my warning. I do not warn you only about sin. I warn you about fatigue that frays discernment, about isolation that edits out wise voices, about quiet compromises that seem harmless when you are tired, but will split you at the seam right before promotion. The enemy prefers you weary than wicked, numb than notorious, respectable and hollow rather than raw and repentant. So I have adjusted your pace, set boundaries that felt like fences but were, in fact, guardrails, and trimmed activities that fed your image while starving your core. I have said no to opportunities that praised you but drained you. I have gathered you into smaller circles so that your heart could breathe. Hear my reassurance inside my correction. I accounted for your weakness. I considered your limits when I mapped your path. I do not hurl you toward a finish line with a brittle soul. I teach you to walk with a stride that will last. I am imparting rhythms you can keep. Work that does not devour worship. Influence that does not eclipse intimacy. Speech that can bear silence. I will renew your inner strength as you yield to formation. I am not sprinting you into visibility. I am settling you into authority. What you call slow, I call secure. What you call withheld, I call wisely timed. My beloved child, receive this as identity, not merely instruction. I am not just telling you what to avoid. I am reminding you who you are. You are not a hurried performer. You are a rooted one. You are not a fragile cup. You are a vessel made sound in my hands. You are not an echo of every demand. You are a son, a daughter, loved, chosen, and entrusted. Let this pressure restore you to yourself. Let it clear the counterfeit labels and return you to the name I gave you before the noise. Remain with me in the work beneath the surface. Do not despise the days that feel hidden. Depth now is protection later. Consent to the kiln a little longer, for soon the vessel will be cool, the seal complete, and what once would have crushed you will sit lightly in your hands. This is not punishment, it is preservation. This is not delay, it is design. Count it all joy, my brothers and sisters, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. James 1:2-4. My beloved child, come closer and hear me without fear. You are not numb by nature. You learned numbness when pain pressed too hard and too long. You trained your heart to lower its volume so you would not hear the ache. You taught your hopes to whisper so disappointment would not find them. You made a shield and wore it as if it were your skin. I do not condemn you for surviving. I am inviting you out of survival into sonship, out of bracing into belonging, out of self-protection into my protection. Look with me at the cages that held you. They were not iron, they were sentences. Do not need too much. Prove yourself first. Stay small so you will not be hurt. Control everything or you will lose everything. These were not commandments from me. They were conclusions formed in rooms of pain, spoken by voices that did not know my heart toward you. Memories repeated themselves until they sounded like truth. Distorted lessons set like plaster around your ribs. You called the stiffness maturity. You called the quiet wisdom. It was safety. It was not freedom. Hear my name for you again. Loved, chosen, entrusted, not tolerated, not tested to earn a place. Loved before you could impress me. Chosen before you could campaign for worth. Entrusted because I see beyond your weakness to the me I placed within you. Identity is not a wage you collect after perfect performance. It is the ground you stand on while you learn to walk. You do not obey to be loved. You obey because you are loved. Love steadies your knees. Love teaches your hands to open. Love unties the knot where fear hid. Let me separate peace from control in you. Control promises safety and delivers exhaustion. It is only a thin garment covering fear. Peace is not the power to hold every thread. Peace is the courage to place what you can't hold into my hands. I see the entire chain of consequences you cannot see. I am not asking you to close your eyes and hope. I am asking you to look at me and rest. Surrender is not passivity. Surrender is alignment, your will leaning into my wisdom so your steps no longer fight your future. My beloved child, I am touching the wound beneath the numbness, not to expose you to shame, but to expose you to healing. You were not designed to be half awake, polite to your pain and distant from your desire. I gave you holy appetite. I planted within you an identity not defined by what you did wrong, but by who I am for you. Let me rename what the world mislabeled. Let me gather the scattered parts of you and make you whole. Let tenderness return without terror. Let desire for me rise without suspicion. In a moment, I will ask you for one small yes that fits inside today. Not a lifetime speech, not a perfect plan. One breath, one step, one act that tells your heart the season of survival is ending and the season of trust has begun. I am near. I am not scolding you back into shape. I am calling you back to yourself. You are mine. You did not receive the spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption as children, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. Romans 8:15. My beloved child, I am not asking you for a lifetime contract. I am asking you for one obedient step today, one breath that says yes, one move that brings your feet into the light you already carry in your chest. Do not make a speech to impress me. Do not build a tower of vows you cannot guard. Give me the small hinge that swings the great door, the present yes that breaks the trance. Here is how you begin, simply and now. Pause. Sit still for 10 minutes without performing. Breathe and say my name. Listen. Write down in plain words what I have been repeating to you, not the version you think sounds spiritual, the actual instruction you keep hearing. Circle one line. Choose one measurable step that takes that line out of your head and into your day within the next 24 hours. Put a time and place on it. Tell one trusted person what you will do and when. Then do it. Do not rush into panic. Rush belongs to fear. Do not argue with conviction. Debate only wastes the heat of the moment I have given. Do not wait for perfect clarity. Step toward the light you already have, and the path will lengthen under your feet. Watch how obedience opens sight. As you go, you will know. Only a response given at the moment of calling opens the next step. Before you stands a plain choice, free of theatrics. Rise into wakefulness now or continue circling the familiar path. Hear me without threat. Clarity grows with obedience. Confusion grows with delay. Peace grows where alignment is chosen. Restlessness grows where negotiation continues. This is not punishment. This is how a heart functions in truth. If you sow a step, you reap direction. If you sow postponement, you reap fog. You ask, what could my first step be? End a compromising connection. Delete the thread. Block the number. Unfollow the feed that keeps bending you small. Set a boundary. Write and send the exact sentence that protects the space I asked you to guard. Return to prayer. Put 10 minutes on the clock tomorrow morning. Open my word and let it speak before your phone does. Confess to a trusted believer. Text them now and ask for a time to talk, and then bring the real thing into the light. Seek counsel. Schedule the meeting with the mentor, pastor, or therapist I have highlighted. Remove a distraction. Delete the app that steals your hunger. Rearrange your evening so silence has a chair again. Give what I nudged you to give. Apologize where you stalled. Begin the work you keep researching and never starting. Write one page, make one call, fill one application. Prepare your heart for this. Feelings may lag behind obedience. The trance does not break when you feel brave. It breaks when you act while your knees still shake. Courage often arrives after your feet have moved. I count the step, not the swagger. I meet you in motion. My beloved child, do the next right small thing while the whisper is near, and watch the weight of delay fall from your shoulders as direction rises to meet you. Be doers of the word, and not hearers only. James 1:22. Father, I come. I lay down my defenses and I stop rehearsing my explanations. I confess my delay, how I traded quick yes for later, how I called numbness peace, how I wore caution as a mask for fear. I confess selective obedience, how I kept what I wanted and offered you extras instead of the one thing you asked. Forgive me for calling dryness maturity and postponement wisdom. Forgive me for the looks of devotion that hid a withheld yes. I surrender my negotiations. I open my hands. Make my heart tender again. Remove the film that dulled my hunger. Give me a soft spirit that turns quickly at your whisper. Give me sharp hearing, ears trained to your tone, not to the noise of my habits. Let conviction land without my arguments rising to meet it. Where I hardened to survive, soften me to live. Where I shrank to stay safe, enlarge me to trust. I do not ask for a louder sign. I ask for a quicker yes. Guard me from counterfeit voices. Expose the lies that sound reasonable when I am tired. The voice of later dressed as wisdom. The voice of fear disguised as stewardship. The voice of control pretending to be responsibility. Unmask the suggestions that dilute obedience into options. Give me discernment to separate your whisper from my worry, your timing from my anxiety, your peace from my passivity. Let your peace rule in me, not as sedation, but as alignment. Give me courage to obey while feelings lag behind. Let my feet move before my certainty arrives, trusting that as I go, I will know. Speak identity over me and let it settle deep. I am loved, kept, guided, and entrusted, loved before I could perform, kept when I could not keep myself, guided when I could not see, entrusted because you know the you in me. Heal where fear and control have ruled. Break the agreement that says I must hold everything together. I release the thin garment of control. I receive the covering of your care. Replace shame with humility, self-focus with God-focus, striving with rest. Strengthen my hands now for the step I already know. Bring to mind the exact action, the exact call, the exact message, the exact boundary, the exact surrender. Put time and place on it in my heart. Give me grace to follow through in ordinary life, tomorrow morning before the scroll, in quiet moments between meetings, in the conversation I have avoided, in the budget line I resisted, in the calendar I must clear. Let warning become pathway. Let mercy turn into direction. Establish in me a rhythm of quick obedience and steady trust. Today, if I hear your voice, I will not harden my heart. Hebrews 3:15. I seal this prayer not with promises I cannot keep, but with a present yes I can walk. Lead me and I will follow. Keep me and I will stand. In Jesus' name, amen. If this prayer met you, stay close to this community. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay connected so we can keep praying with you and speaking courage into your next faithful step.